Okay, so what are we doing?
Making a steam engine.
A steam engine. Okay, what do you know about steam engines?
Well, it's basically an engine, but instead of high pressure, well, it's still high pressure gas, but instead of using petroleum, it uses steam.
Okay, so we need a pressure vessel,
Mhm.
and a cylinder, and a piston, drive shaft, and a flywheel, because the flywheel creates the inertia to keep it all going. So this is an old V pulley that we're going to convert into a flywheel. It's got enough weight, it's cast iron, so it's got a lot of weight to it to create the inertia to keep the cycle going. This is a bit of number 80 pipe, so this will take enough pressure. That's going to be good. This is a bit of quarter plate, so we're going to cut that, and we're going to put a bevel on there and then weld that to there, both the sides creating the cylinder, and then we're going to put a pressure relief valve on it, and this one's set for 200 psi. 200 psi is going to be fine. Piston, cylinder, conrod, and these are going to be the mounting feet for the cylinder, because they're not going to transfer too much heat back to the main frame. So all in stainless steel except for the cast iron flywheel and the brass piston. The actual base plate we're going to make out of steel, so we are going to be welding stainless steel. So all this is 304 stainless, because I wanted it to be a little stronger than 316, and it didn't need to be as corrosive resistant as 316. So 304 is fine, but there are going to be issues where we're going to be welding stainless steel to mild steel, and with that we will use stainless steel filler rather than mild steel filler. So everything's going to be welded in ER308 stainless steel wire. So it should be fun. All of this is the math calculation for the length of stroke and the pivot point. So this is going to be a conrod piston fixed with an oscillating cylinder rather than a wrist pinned piston, and the reason for that is as the cylinder oscillates, there'll be a hole in it and it will pick up the high pressure steam, and when it goes down to the other end it'll be to the venting hole. So as the piston's coming in and out, it takes the high pressure steam in, and then when it gets to the end it starts to go down, it switches holes to the vent hole, and then it will vent and then carry on round, pick up the high pressure steam and follow on round, which is why you need the inertia of a flywheel to keep it going through that half cycle when it's not powered. I think that's it. So there was a bit of math involved in those calculations, so we'll probably go through that later as well. Let everyone know how we came by that. Anything to add before we get started?
No.
You ever welded stainless steel before?
No.
Okay, so you've welded steel before? Yeah. Okay, so we'll get some stainless steel welding practice for you.
Okay.
We'll be using a MIG. Great. Okay, let's go on with it. Okay, so I've set the depth, so now I just need to open it up to the right diameter. should have 1.7 thou to go. I think I'll give that a test. That's really close. Oh, I think that's going to be a press fit in. That is very close. No, I don't want it to be too tight, so let's just pass it in again. It's really close. I think that'd almost tap in. Okay, I'm going to call it that. Nice. Gone in. Okay. Excellent. So I have an old pulley that I found laying around. I have just spun the back off of there a little bit so that it will run on the inner race of the bearing and not touch the outer. And then I've the center was a little smaller, so I've had to cut the center out a little bit and again put this in so that it only runs on the center. And then I've got a reconstituted lawnmower half drive shaft which will fit in there, and then that fits on there. Oh yes, that fits nicely. And then hopefully, oh yeah, that's snug. And then I'm going to just trim this off, and you can see I have clearance on the outer races. So moving on. A hill. So now I'm going to cut that in half, and that will become my two uprights for my super shaft. That will fit in there. Right, look at that, but it's snug. So that will be the two cradles. Okay, so I've just got to cut that exactly in half. Perfect. Okay, is that good? Is that good? Put my ears on. And they should both be the same, which they pretty much are. That's pretty good. Look at that. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Great. Okay, that fits a treat. What I do is weld that up, and that should find my shaft. Put it in there. Hopefully. And look at that. Clears perfectly. Super. Going to finish it off with a reamer, so I'm not too worried about what sort of finish I'm getting at the moment. Just need to get the hole open to a reasonable size. Okay, so I've got it within a few thou. So let's just reaming. Travel. Let's just ease that in. Come on. Oh, that's it. That's as far as it will go. Well, it's looking pretty good. Okay, so the good thing about this is we're not looking at it to be within a few tenths. It's got to be a nice slidey fit, so it's not really that accurate. So I'm going to just measure that. This is going to be the piston. So it's 33 thou up. Let's turn on the DRO. Yeah, come on, zero it all. I'm going to take one little quick pass, zero it out. Leaving a nice finish, nice piston finish. Let's see where we are. 27 thou up. Okay, so let's zero that off again. 27, 5. 13.5 is the radius, because of course the DRO is just going to say how much am I taking off. It doesn't know that I'm taking it off twice, so not going to be much. So I'm going to take off take off 10, see where we go. I love turning grass. Grass is so nice. I should use my brake as soon as I put a brake on it. Okay, where are we now? We are 4 thou up. 4 thou. Yeah, 4 thou is 4 thou up. So I'm just going to take off 2. So I'll zero that. Perfect. Let's see what that feels like. Oh, nice slidey piston feel. That's really good. Okay, great. Okay, so we have the piston, the conrod, the cylinder cap, and the pivoting gas block. So I'm going to pin that in there. This is going to go, I think they're both pretty much the same. That's going to get pushed in there and then welded. Well, they're going to cut this away so that that parts into that, and then this is going to have the gas, well, the pivoting point and the gas port, and then we're going to weld the pivot on there. So let's, I mean, that's, even with that not welded, that's a pretty good seal in there. Oh, I'm going to get the piston out now. So I think that's a good enough gas seal. So let's weld this in, and then we're going to mill this out. We're going to weld that in. Actually, I'll drill the holes in this first, I think, and then weld that in, and pin this in the piston. So a bit to do. So, okay. So that's the piston pinned to the conrod. Let's give my piston a bit of a polish. Make sure there's no burrs on it. Burr where I put that pin in. Better, nice tight fit, great. Yeah, that actually welded in there pretty well, actually. I mean, you'd almost think that was a solid bar until you look down in there and you can see that the cap's actually welded in. So, yeah. So let's cut it and weld the block in. Okay, so that is cap welded on, cleaned off. That's the piston, so that's a pretty good air fit. This is going to be the wrist pin for that. Weld that on there, and then I've got to cut half of this out here and just inset this block in here, in there. So that's the next job. Cut a bit of this out, drop that in there, drill my 2 holes, and weld that on, and weld that on there. So we're getting there. Okay. Not the cleanest weld I've ever done, but there you go. Starting to bite into the tube there. I don't want to do that. I have to must be slightly off. One more pass, I think. Okay, I think I'll clean it up now with the sander. I'm not quite, somehow, not quite central. Maybe I didn't clock it properly. Oh well, that'll be fine. Bit overkill on this tiny little pipe, this bender, but it's, I mean, it's almost as if I'm not doing anything. It's like, and just so easy. So it's going to come out of the going to come out of the boiler and it's going to come down to the other. So let's check this up against the other pieces, because I'm going to need to put another bend in here to come down into the piston block. Okay, so here's the pressure relief valve and the fitting I'm going to weld into the top of the cylinder. So first thing I did, drill out the hole, because this is going to be the water fill as well as the pressure relief port. So this needs to be able to screw in and out so that I can pour water in here, fill it up, and then put the safety valve in afterwards. So the first thing I did, drill the hole. Second thing I did was relieve the threads for the first 1.5 threads, you can see, but that needed to be a nice smooth cut so that I could seat an O-ring in there. Next thing I did, remove this awful, well, it's not awful actually, it's just useful, but remove this glue and cut a groove in here to fit an O-ring. Here's one I prepared earlier, in the words of Blue Peter, which probably most people don't know what I'm talking about, but there you go. So I cut a groove in here which will take this O-ring. So I'll put that O-ring on there, pop it down into the groove. Now when this screws in here, the O-ring goes into that undercut I made, and you feel it, it's starting to bite, and then all of a sudden it slides in and it comes up against the stop as it bottoms out in the bottom there. But that O-ring is now creating a perfect seal between this and this, that can be undone and redone as many times as you like as you want to refill with water and put it back in. That's a nitrile, actually no, that's a Viton O-ring, which is actually a very high temperature O-ring, so it's not going to rot or become a problem with the heat of the pressure vessel. So that's how I'm going to do it. Next thing I need to do is drill a hole in the cylinder. I may thread it, I may not actually. There's so much undercut here, there may not actually be anything to thread into. But that will go in, and then I will weld round here and affix this into the cylinder. And if I want to fill it with water, I unscrew this, and then once I'm done, I screw that back in, and voila! Perfect. Okay, so zeroing the pulley on the deck, and that hole is within a thou. I mean, it doesn't need to be that accurate, to be fair. I'm only drilling a hole for the the conrod, so it doesn't need to be super accurate, but it's nice to be in habit. So zeroed the DRO. So now all I'm going to do is so I need 1.5 inch throw. So that means that the mounting hole is going to be 3/4 of an inch off center. So I'm just going to move this 0.75. Okay, there you go, point. Okay, oh, perfect, look at that, within 100th, or within, yeah, a lot more than that. So now, put a pilot drill in, and drill the hole. Okay. Yeah, I want to get it so that put some anchor on it. You're looking at just putting a mark in there and just getting a little drill point. Let it drill. A bit more pressure. You feel it. A bit more pressure.
Maybe a bit more heavy.
Okay, that'll do. Like that. Turn it off. Okay. Right, let's get that to there. Okay, good. More pressure. We'll feel it biting. Keep going. Keep going.
Do we want to go all the way through the other
Yeah, we
side?
do, yeah. I'll lift it up a minute. All the way up. Go down again. Bit more pressure. It may actually hit the boss before it goes all the way through. Go for it. Here we go. refill this bit. Because the boss of the actual pulley is right there, so I don't know if he's going to come through on the edge of it, which is not good. The other places we've gone right through where there's a okay. Now we're going to slow it down and put a tap in there. Perfect. Screw in a tree. Right. Let's just get that to there. Okay, you ready? Again, you're just looking at spotting it a little bit. Get it? Okay. Okay.
I'm just opening it.
A bit more pressure.
Is it time for the drill?
Yeah, I think it's right. There we go. And start it up. Well, hold on a minute. Because that's going to be too fast for that size drill, so we need to slow it down a little bit.
Do we need some of this?
Oh, not that much. Oh yeah, you've got a bit of that on there. Okay, start drilling at that. And you've got to hold it because it may want to grab and pull it in. And you're through. Excellent. All right. Good. And up. Oh. Perfect. Okay, fire it up. Okay, so this is for the output pipe. Okay.
Should we put it on?
Yeah. Cool. That's it. Okay, that's a bit. That's enough. Okay.
Just putting smoky.
It's doing stainless steel.
Ah, my ears. Really loud.
Put another edge on that drill. You sharpen that drill. So that's going to drop down in there. Now I've made it so it didn't drop all the way through, so it's just a snug down to there. So we'll weld that. This needs to bend down more, and it's going to come down and into the into this block. It's just going to sit here like this. So it's going to come down into that. So this is the steam feed to the working block. It's going to be that way. Right? Looks good. So my biggest concern with this was not getting it flat. So if you look at that, that is dead flat on there. So that now that will run nicely. Okay, I'll just clean it up now, make it look pretty. So I want this wrist pivot to be made of brass because it's better to run on. That is just a little too tight. Now can I spin that again and just make that a little bit not so tight without taking too much off? I hate this. Let's zero that and then try it. It's going to take one thou. Actually, it's going to take 2 thou. Okay. Of course, that's going to take 2 thou because I wonder if 2 thou is going to be too much. I think it may be. Ooh, that is still too tight. Oh, so close. I've got a burr in there. I think I may want to just put paper the inside of that. Let's try that first. Okay, so this is going to be clamped rigid. This is going to run on it like that. Now I'm going to put a cap on here. This is the offset, which has got to be 1.25 and with a 6mm hole in it. So let's drill the hole. Already popped it, so tighten that up. Back this out. It's plenty deep enough. Yeah. Okay, so I just need to pot that off there now. And I need this shoulder to be bigger than 125. Let's try that there. I can always take a bit off. Can't put it back on. I'm going to go there. Now I need to make the washer. It's going to go on here. So it's going to be that diameter.
Driveway.
So that is 75 thou under. So that should fit nice and snugly in there. And we've got our little washer goes on that. And this is going to screw in there. That's nice and free. I mean, this doesn't have the oil on it, of course. So that should be fine. Okay. So, why the spindly legs, you think? Well, if I've got the fire under here and it's heating this up, I don't want any of that heat transfer down onto the plate. So, hence spindly stainless steel legs. Oh, missed it. Still missed it. Perfect. Okay, nice and rigid. Yeah, my lights kept triggering my helmet, so I couldn't see what I was doing. That was a little annoying. And that's on top. That's on top. Okay. Let's clean all this up and line it up ready for the other pieces. Okay, so the first thing we want to do, we want to find this edge because we need to go up from here for the holes. So this is the base plate, and we need to measure up before we drill the hole. So we need to know where this is. What we're going to do, we're going to bring that down. Let's get it started first. And just get your nail up. Look. And I normally just get my thumbnail on it and get it a bit so it's being it like that, so it's spinning. Okay, I'm going to bring it down so that it's not touching the edge. Okay, and then we're going to get it close and you see, watch it. It starts to really straighten up. Then we'll zero at the arrow. Okay, and we move it a few thou at a time, just really small amounts. Just watch it. Watch it. And the moment it kicks off like that, that is exactly on the edge. So we'll zero the DRO again. But it's exactly on the edge of this, and this is 100 thou, point, so it's 0.1 of an inch. So you've got to bring it half of this distance to be on the edge. So we need to move that forward still 50 thou. What's that? Not zeroed. There you go. Okay. So we're going to bring it forward 50 thou. So that's 40, 47, 55. I mean, we're not really worried about one thou really, but I want to get it a bit closer than that. Jigging backwards and forwards. There you go. That's close enough. And then we zero that. So now the centre of this is exactly on that edge. Okay. So this is going to be this is our plate, which our cylinder is going to be bolted to. So the centre of that hole has got to be centred with the centre of the drive spindle, and that is 2 3/16 up off the base plate is the centre of that spindle. So what's 3/16 in a decimal?
Like 4 point.
No, don't.
Oh.
Look at this. So this is called a Zeus chart, a Zeus book. They're excellent books. And you look for 3/16, 32, 3/16. So the decimal is 0.1875. Okay, so that is 2 and 0.1. So it's 2.1875. So we now move this up to and 1.875. 1. Go on, you do that then. 1.875. A bit more. That. Back just a smidgen. That's close enough.
Yeah.
Okay. So then we zero that. So that is going to be our centre line for the cylinder. Next thing we want to do is bring this across, so that's the centre line in that hole. Okay, so that is going to be the pivot hole for the gas block. This is our oscillating gas block. So we need to drill a hole there. Okay. So put a bit of.
Are we going to start the hole or no?
No, it should be. Oh gosh.
It's fine. Just don't have it for a while.
Okay. Hold it. Wait. I'm going to bring this round. And very gently. Okay. Just start drilling.
Oh, safety glasses.
Yeah. Well, here they are. These ones. They're a bit manky. Use those ones. Lift it up a bit. Look at that swarf off of there. Take them down. Never do that with your finger. Even if you see me do it, don't do it, because that stuff's sharp.
And also it's spinning it.
Yeah, it'll cut you really badly.
All the way through?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay. So lift it up. Get the brush. Oh gosh. Hold on. Okay, keep going. There you go, and you're through. Okay. Now, this stainless steel actually is very hard, and I don't know, it'd be really nice if we could tap that, but I'm not sure. That's all right, we don't need that. I'm not sure whether we're going to be able to tap that, so let's just try and see if we can put a 5mm drill through there. And I'll do this bit actually, because I don't want to break this one, because I don't have another one. I hate tapping stainless steel because it always binds up. It's so hard. Oh. I'm worried about breaking the tap off. So the way I do it is I go in until it really feels too tight, and then I back it right out and clear the thread, bring it in until you feel it binding, and then back it out. I've broken so many taps in the past that I'm actually a bit scared of it. Oh, it's going in. Ah, here we go. Right, tight again. I think the secret I find is just easy does it, and we're through. So we did manage to get a tap. Now I really wanted a thread in that. I didn't want to put nut and bolt it. Okay, so perfect. Right. Let's zero back to where we were. So the distance between the pivot point and the impulse hole is 0.875. 0.875. Okay. 8.75. Okay. So that would be the centre line. Now we need to go up and down. So the distance between the two holes is a quarter. So we've got to go up and down an eighth. 125. So we'll go up. 125. 0.125. There, and drill the hole there. Okay, you can drill this?
Yeah.
Okay. Glasses. Okay, touch it down gently so it centres. You get these out of the way. Okay. Okay, break it up, lift it up. Go down, there you go, come down.
We need some interval.
Okay, stop it, right. To stop the swarf from getting so big and flying around, every now and again just do a little break and it
Okay.
stops the swarf from growing. Keeps it in smaller chunks basically. Only do it when you see it starting to grow. And you're through. Okay, keep it going. Okay, lift it up. And we're going to go 125 the other way.
Take the swap out.
Hold on. Alright, let's get it done. There.
Let me take the swap out.
Yep. And down.
Maybe need some more interlude.
And that's right. There you go. Okay. Actually, I'm going to drill this because when it breaks through into that other hole, it could break the drill. Okay, broken through that. broke through. Okay, so what we're going to do now is cut that cylinder so that we can fit the gas block in it, like that. So let's fire it up. Now I want to just kiss the surface of that. There. Okay. Now zero the RO. So the thickness of our gas block is 0.4926 thou, so it's almost half an inch, but not quite. So we're going to take off 0.49. Take off 0.49, and that should leave this just slightly proud by about 10 thou. Okay. Oh. I decided to use a carbide cutter for this because the stainless steel is killing the high-speed steel. So just got to be a little careful because the carbide does tend to chip off easy. Okay, we've broken through. Okay. So now I want to know, that hole's got to be in the gap. So, okay, let's bring it back down. Move it over. Ooh, did I just do that too much? No, that's about right. Okay, so that hole will go down into the hole of that. Right. think I'm going to do it for 0.4 and then skim the block down to match, I think. That's exactly 0.4. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay. Ooh. And block goes that way. Now like that. Actually, I think I'll go a little bit further actually. Hold it. Start at the beginning. Bring it that way. Pretty good. Okay. Leave it at that. Excellent. Okay, so I think the first thing we do is put the shaft in through here. Be careful, this is still a little warm. Cool. Slide it through. There you go. Okay, now this is a little spacer because I needed to move this over a little bit, so let's put that on. So now this. Tighten that together and then I'll pull that up. So those bearings are all in there. That's running nice and true. There's no run out. Next thing we need to do is mount that on there, which is with that screw. I'll worry about that one for a minute. I'll deal with that in a minute. Okay, that's in there. Through there. That's it. Screw it all the way in. And I'll connect the piston with this end. How you doing? You nearly there?
Almost.
I'm going to lock up this end.
That's good.
Okay, that needs to be tight, that side. Is that correct? Okay. Now, do you remember that hole from the top? Oh, that's too much. Went all the way through. We're going to use that as a pressure relief, and this is going to be the switch. So that needs to go on there. Put that nut on. So if you do that while I hold this. Hold on, wait. Go faster. Hold it, put it there. So this is sort of setting the tension of this here. So that's going to be tight enough, and that's going to be, that's too tight. Let me just back that up a little bit. So this is releases the steam out and dumps the steam from the boiler. So this is like the dump switch. Okay, that should be it. Here is the oscillating gas block. Here is the pressure dump switch. And it should, once we steam it up, run. So I guess all we've got to do now is steam it up. Check of that. You've got to have a certain amount of airspace. That's going to do. Put the safety valve back in. And the little solid fuel tablets. You get a lighter like those. Find a lighter with some gas in it.
You can edit this bit out.
Yep. Okay. I had a little Mammoth steam locomotive when I was your age, and this is how we used to eat it. In fact, the smell's exactly the same. Brings back memories. There you go. So let's get it cooking.
How long do we have to wait? 5 minutes?
Maybe a bit longer than 5 minutes.
15.
Maybe. That's why how thick that. Yeah, it's a pretty heavy gauge steel. So yeah. Okay, let's get it cooking.
Can you press go? Stop.
Yep.
If
I remember right, with my little steam engine, lots of oil. So you have to oil here and oil all the pivoting points. Actually, I think we've got the head of steam up already. Are you going to flick it? See if it's faster. Right, and again. And again.
I don't want to hit you.
Still not there yet, actually. So let's fire it up. There she goes. Excellent.